Hey everyone, it's Lupine Fiasco back with some more mid-tier FaB gameplay through the Talishar.net client. Today we will be playing against Briar, the Warden of Thorns. Her meta representation is not as great as it once was. She did have quite a representation in Birmingham this last weekend, but no conversion to top 8. So no guarantee how relevant this gameplay will be, but historically Briar has been a tough match for FaB. Warmongers does make that a little bit better, but it can still be tough. So the Runeblade sideboard plan for this game is something I have since disregarded. It was boarding out Rise from the Ashes to board in Command & Conquer just to take advantage of Warmonger's diplomacy. We don't want to put ourselves in a situation where the diplomacy actively harms us. That said, every Runeblade runs Crown of Providence as their headpiece unless they are on some alternative build. And having Crown to blank that first CNC is such a tempo loss. We are a bit blue heavy with this list. 12 blues and 9 yellows, but even so, CNC can be quite a burden to cast, and if we are going to play it, we want it to have an effect. So rather than play the CNC, just keep the rises in. If you do Warmonger's Diplomacy and then draw a Rise from the Ashes, pitch it for a Kodachi, arsenal it, pitch it for a Phoenix Flame. It is not worth harming every non-diplomacy turn for the rare diplomacy turns we do get. So, pretty standard hand here. 3 head jets and a blaze headlong. Briar decides to take all the damage, likely setting up for a Channel Mountain Heroic turn. We are going to make them bleed for it. So sending just the entire hand, a lucky snatch draw from our Mask of Momentum here, is really make Briar reevaluate her choices. Interesting to me that she did not block the Blaze Headlong with Crown and Grasp. Here we do get a card from her. I don't know Briar well enough to know why this snatch was worth blocking, but our last snatch in Blaze Headlong is not worth blocking. But Briar's setting up for a big turn here, getting the Embodiment token, setting up a Fused Force of Nature, snatch for 10 with Go Again. So we're in a situation here with this Phoenix Flame in hand. This hand does not block well. In hand, we have 7 total block, and all of our equipment at this point blocks for 2. So in order to stop this snatch from hitting, we would have to give up the front half of our Furnace, Tiger Stripe Shuko, and 3 cards from hand. So our entire offense goes into preventing the snatch from hitting, and Briar still does 4 damage on the back end with Thorn. So this being the case, if this hand was a bit better, maybe if this Phoenix Flame was a 3 block, I could see blocking 10. Even if this Phoenix Flame was a 2 block, maybe we give the entire hand and Furnace to just reset and be satisfied with a 10-point life lead over Briar. But none of that is the case. So this snatch is hitting for 10. We go to 30. Briar draws a card. And there's a chance that they draw something like another snatch and they have Snapdragons available. But there's also a chance that they draw a dumpy blue that they don't even want to put in their arsenal. They Thorn for 4 and just hope to get Crown value. So, as much as we hate tanking 10 to the face and letting our opponent draw 2 cards, the opportunity cost of blocking this snatch is too high. We are just giving up any kind of momentum in this game. We could definitely get punished for it, absolutely. Or we could get rewarded by Briar just doing nothing. Having 2 cards that do nothing. And what do we see? Briar draws a dumpy blue, pitches to Grasp, Thorns for 5. Yeah, it puts us to 25. A good 15 damage turn from Briar with a card in Arsenal. But now we get to do something on the back end. And so we're going to be sending Rising Resentment for 3, Phoenix Flame for 1, Ravenous Rabble for 4. Just trying to take advantage of Mask Momentum. Briar no longer blocks for 4 with equipment unless she wants to give up a tunic. So if she does put Grasp in front of the Phoenix Flame in Link 2, we'll still have our 3rd Draconic Link in Lava Vein Loyalty to present 3 more links against Briar to trigger Mask. Instead, Briar goes for the early block. So our turn, our sequencing changes slightly. I'm going to send Lava Vein Loyalty now and get more from the Briar, which is fantastic for us. We get to send Phoenix Flame, pick up a Phoenix Flame and send that, and Ravenous Rabble for 4. So not only do we get 2 cards from Briar, but we're going to get a 3rd card unless they want to let this momentum trigger. Understanding that Briar probably drew the dreaded 4 non-attack action hand or 3 non-attack actions, but even so, we are happy to take advantage of that. Briar blocking with an Autumn's Touch. At this point, we're just going to arsenal this Rabble. We aren't interested in pushing damage just for the sake of it. We see that we have a blue on top, so even glad now that we are able to, we see Briar with 3 non-attack actions and a blue Autumn's Touch. Terrible hand for them, great hand for us. Here, we've got some pretty easy sequencing. We also see that we have a Warmonger's Diplomacy that we'll want to take advantage of. So we can send Brand with Cinderclaw, Pitch Lava Vein Loyalty for a Kodachi. Ravenous Rabble for 4 is our first mask trigger. We then get a second Kodachi, a Phoenix Flame from our graveyard, and Salt the Wound is our second mask trigger. And depending on how Briar chooses to block or not block this hand, we can Snapdragon the Salt the Wound in order to play Warmonger's Diplomacy. Considering that Briar effectively had to take a turn off there with such a bad attacking hand, we can't necessarily put them on Channel Mount Heroic in Arsenal, but always just a good thing to be aware of. Is this Briar trying to set up Channel Mount? We do get blocks from Briar. Briar realizing that she does not have an embodiment token. The Earthflow Surge does not block for 3, so now trying to decide how she wants to make the most of this bad situation. We're going to get a Crown and a 2-block, which is fine. We're happy to get our Crown here. That's 2 less armor for Briar. Potentially opens the door for Kodachis later. Briar keeps the hand. Just counting our Draconic triggers here, our Draconic Channelings, making sure we can pick up this Phoenix Flame. We can get a Shuko on Salt the Wound, always nice. Briar decides to tank the damage. We're going to snap here. Anything we draw, really, Head Jab, Enlightened Strike, any kind of follow-up to this Salt the Wound is just going to go into Arsenal. No reason to push damage here when we already have our Mask trigger. We'll be playing Diplomacy. hoping that the Briar has a Channel Mount Heroic, an Arsenal, or an Electrify, or just something that she would have liked to use to try to pit it on this turn. All attacks from Briar. It's possible that she could put something together with Snapdragons, but we aren't afraid of that. We have 6 points of armor left. Grab a double strike for the Arsenal, play Warmongers here. And Briar decides to pack again. So, just solid gameplay from us. I believe that game was pretty autopilot. Don't think there were any tough decisions. That snatch at the beginning, like I said, there's a chance that Briar draws absolute heat off of that. Another snatch with Snapdragons could have been bad for us. But overall, 10 was just too much to block. So there are going to be times where you just tank the damage against Briar and hope that your crackback is enough to get you there. Warmongers Diplomacy, again, showing itself to be a great card in this matchup. Being able to stop these big Channel Mount Heroic turns, being able to stop these big Nimblism, Gorganian Tome to make an embodiment, to play Snatch for 7 with Go Again turns. It just really hampers Briar's ability to do the thing that she's trying to do. And finding a way to work that diplomacy into your big damage turns, like Salt the Wound, Snapdragon, Salt the Wound to play Warmongers as a follow-up, as your real finisher, is just an important thing to be able to do. So, I will see you all again next time for more exciting mid-FaB gameplay.